Okay, hey everybody, TG here. Looks like we got everything recording in the Moxie room. I'm also on the social medias. We got YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the various places. And now we got that going. Thank you, Mirza. Looks like we're good to go. And finally, I see you guys kind of being fun in the Moxie room. We got some memes coming around because we have been waiting for this market to pull back. And yesterday was an up day. I'm like, okay, what's going on with this thing? And finally, even this morning in the overnight, the market was jumping up. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on with this? And I said, well, we should see if we can actually get a pullback today. And it finally manifested. So we are taking advantage of that. We've got a few positions on for that direction. And we also have been lightening up and taking some profits on some things. So we'll run it into that and then talk to you guys a little bit about our Moxie Mutual Fund. So anybody out there in the social medias who doesn't know about this, come on over to simplertrading.com/Moxie. And that's where you can come into the Moxie Indicator Mastery, which is my trading room. And you can check this out for 30 days for $7 if you want. But we are also going to be running some promotions this month because the Moxie indicator is the indicator of the month. So that's kind of exciting. I think the promotions will actually start on Wednesday, so tomorrow. If you guys don't see anything, you can ask customer support, but I think that everything's going to get out there tomorrow. And then on the 16th, so if you look here, October 16th, next Thursday, I'm going to be doing a webinar talking to you guys about all the stuff and how the room has been doing, how the trade's been doing. I want to show you guys this because this was kind of exciting. This hit. Let me get this up here. Yeah, so this was quick, to say the least. The $100,000 day in this particular account. Now, mind you, I trade a bunch of accounts, so this is just one of them, but it's been kind of the fun one to show. And $725,000. I remember we're just not long ago. We were like, hey, I just broke 500, and then it was 600. Now it's 700. So yes, it's been a very, very strong market. You can just see the absolute, rip of this account right here. And it's been fun. It's really been fun. It's been a good job with this. But when you get big numbers like this, you kind of always look around the corner because like, how long can this last? And when you see that things go up big, they also can sometimes come down big. And I think we were all kind of feeling the same way. It's like, oh boy, you get these big moves and big accounts. Like, is this going to last or what's going to happen? So we have been taking some profits. I've been telling everybody be careful out there. And we have put on some hedges. So I don't expect this to be sticking around 725 for this week, considering what we're getting. But it is proof to show you guys what's been happening with this particular account. Not to mention the prop account that I have too. So that's been good too. All right, guys. So yeah, anybody out there, just remember, come over to simplertrading.com/Moxie, and that's where you can find me. Hey, Trading LA, good to see you again. Okay, so let's kind of dive into this a little bit because we'll give you guys an overview of what's going on in the market, especially anybody who's tuning in on the social medias and you haven't heard from me for a week and now suddenly the market's coming down. You're like, what's going on? And those of you in the Moxie room, you guys are, you're up to speed. You know what's going on. We got this going. Let's get to those colors. So if you look at the internals, yesterday was an up day. You can see the internals were kind of representing that. But look at today. You can see they started out, this is the advanced decline for volume. So you can see order flow really wasn't that strong this morning. And then it rolled over and went negative. And then you could also see that the advanced decline for stocks, the number of stocks up versus the number of stocks down, kind of opened with a little bit of a positivity because, the market opened up today too. And then it just got sold off all day. We could start to see that there were clues of that yesterday. So if you look here, you can see how we opened with a kind of a gap up. We sold off, and then we actually kind of bounced back and hung around here. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, well, I guess the market's not ready to go down quite yet. But now today looks like that's what's happening. And then if you look at the ticks, the ticks aren't always super duper clear. And if you kind of zoom out, what you can start to see is right here that the ticks kind of were more staying below zero than above zero. And that was kind of another indication because you can see here, at least the ticks were kind of positive up here. And then you can see we're starting to transition down below here. And so you could just see that there was a change of flow as far as the market and all that. Those of you in the Moxie room, also yesterday when I was on the mic with you and also in the Mastering the Trade room, I did mention here that price was starting to pull away from the 8 EMA. And that's another common thing that I talk about. It's just another way of showing that price is getting a little extended. Now, it doesn't mean you have to short it, doesn't mean it's going to be the end of the move. This is in context with everything else that we talk about. But I think this is now starting to prove that, yes, it was getting a little extended. Now we just watch and see where this thing wants to come back down to. And then yesterday, also in the Moxie room, I think the closing alert that I had to you all was I said, this might be a double top. And it exactly was. And you can see we opened with a little bit. I think we actually made new highs this morning, didn't we? When you look at that. How do you like that for a bull trap? Anybody who looked at this and said, oh my gosh, we're opening at new highs. And that's a bull trap because they open it and then they sold it. And so, yeah, we've got things working for us today. We're long the UVIX, which is just now starting to get its butt into gear. We're short the SPX with a put, and we also shorted the SOXL this morning, and that one's working nicely. So we can talk about that one too. And yeah, look at this. We don't know yet if this is painted because it's still moving. It's still an active indicator, but it'll be interesting to see if the Moxie indicator actually calls that as the top for right now. And then we'll just have to see how far down this market wants to go. But yeah, look at this thing. We are sliding, very much sliding. I would say at this point, probably the first target is going to be around the hourly 50, which is about the daily 8. And then we might bounce and whatever, but I think we're going to go lower. I don't see any reason why the market's just going to do one little dip here and then call it good, and then we go right back up. I think we're going to need a little bit more downside to make sure this market doesn't get carried away and to kind of help reload things, because boy, we were seeing some big moves over this week. And that's why you can see my account. I mean, I had $100,000 day yesterday. I think that tells you what this market's been doing. It's been awesome, but also you need to be careful and don't get too carried away with it. Let's see, Boz, you're asking a question here. So VLD and zero line determines bullish versus bearish. Yes. Yep. Because zero is neutral. So above is positive and below is negative. Yes. Okay. And then let's just we can look at, I guess, IBIT. We can look at BitX, anything else like that. Bitcoin made new all-time highs. Got a lot of attention. People were saying it broke 125,000. Everyone's like, awesome, cool. But really, the story was that Bitcoin broke 125,000 after running up for 10 days or however many days that was. And like, okay, you don't go chase that. Now, this is where you have to understand the difference between reading headlines and you get the amateurs that come in and just jump in on this stuff versus the real traders that just because Bitcoin broke out to new highs, you don't chase that because you're looking at the charts and you realize that this thing has just went straight vertical in order to get that headline. And you don't do that. If anything, your entry was right here when price pulled back and then bounced off of the 15-minute 50. But those of you in the Moxie room, you guys know this. This is what we're talking about. Like that was your entry if you really wanted Bitcoin. We've got other things we're trading related to Bitcoin and crypto and all that, so we're good. And I've been saying, guys, we need to be really careful about this. Bitcoin, Ethereum, a lot of these other names have gone absolutely straight up, which, hey, no complaints. I love it. I'm very, very happy about this. But we need to be reasonable about this and also understand, hey, this is you don't go chase that. And I said, we should be seeing a pullback. And you can see, when did the market pull back? Well, kind of when Bitcoin pulled back, which is very interesting to see timing wise. So as long as we saw risk on with Bitcoin and the cryptos and some other places, the market just wasn't ready to top quite yet. But we knew it was getting risky. Again, those of you in the Moxie room, you guys know exactly what I'm pointing at up here, up on the daily chart. And price was just too extended. And look at the gap between price and the hourly 50. It's just way, way, way too high up there. And now you can see here, we're breaking the 15-minute 50. Okay. This doesn't necessarily mean price is going to go straight down. We're probably going to come down, maybe bounce a little bit, then we come down a little bit further. So I do think this is going to take some time. Here's one day. We're probably going to get a bounce. And we'll see if we can go down another couple days into the end of the week. And then we'll see what next week looks like. I don't really know, but we know what we're looking for. And all I know is I don't want to be chasing this to the long side. I want to see if price comes down here. And you know what? If it does, we're probably going to be buyers because, yeah, Bitcoin did make new all-time highs. That's great. That's a good signal. But you don't go buy the breakout. You wait for the pullback. And that's really what we're doing, is waiting for the pullback. And then we can get the next entry here. So that's why we've been lightening up on positions, taking profits. I've been warning you guys, being very cautious and just saying, hey, it's been awesome. but also when things are so good, that's kind of when you need to start kind of looking around and being careful. So we got that, and then I'm trying to think where else did we? Oh, SOXL. How are we doing on this one today, guys? How's that for a short entry? We shorted it right there, 42, and it went down. You're down, 6.5%. Now, yeah, okay, that's not very sexy or whatever, but for stock, 6.5% on an index, hey, that is pretty good, and it depends on how much money you put it on. It's a trade. I'm trying to give you guys trades and ideas, and you can work with it. Heck, you can go long the SOXS. You can do options on this. You can sell calls. I mean, there's almost an unlimited number of things that you guys can do. My job is to guide you into trade ideas, and then you take it from there. Okay, because I can't push the buttons for you. So can lead a horse to water all we want, but can't make them drink. Okay, so that's a nice little move right there. It was becoming obvious at some point. SOXL was just so darn high, it was unlikely to stay up there. And then now we see where this goes. Okay, there could still be a bounce at some point. Come down. Maybe we bounce. Maybe we bear flag. We don't really know, but I kind of still thinking we're going to get a little bit lower. There's no way that I'm going to buy this here. Okay, so if anything, if you're on the short side, just be prepared. There could be a bounce. It can kind of wiggle for a little bit, but I do think we're going to get some more downside. Kind of something like this is what I'm thinking. So either to the hourly 50 or just below the hourly 50, I think would be good. Yeah, Rob, cliff diving. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's definitely cliff diving. You kind of there's your little springboard, boom, like that, and then whew, down. Yeah, I hope he did some fun acrobatic tricks on the way down. Maybe got a score of 9 out of 10. Yeah, Andrew, good. So yeah, you covered your position. I know you were putting on some call credit spreads, or what else you put on? You were selling some calls against your longer term position on SOXL. So yeah, good job. Yeah, Andrew, sounds like you're going to be able to afford that Lucid in no time. Yeah, Scott, good. I'm glad you took something on that as well. Again, there are so many different trades to be putting on. I just want to make sure that I lead you guys into these ideas, and based on what your trade is or your account or whatever, that you can actually take advantage of that. In fact, let me do one thing real quick. And there we go. Okay. Just taking a little bit of profits on this thing. And we got that. Good. And then the other thing, so I was able to, on one of my accounts, this prop account that I have, I was able to actually neutralize my day today. So the account was up a little bit this morning already. We put on some of these shorts, and I was able to size up to where my account actually hasn't moved for the last 2 hours. So I'll just say it's plus 10 grand today, and that's even after this pullback. So I managed to put on enough short side exposure that it completely neutralized any of the other downside moves that happened to occur in this account. So yeah, feeling pretty good. That's a nice hedge. Went totally flat today. I'm happy about that. Okay, then let's see. IWM, this was another one that I've kind of been watching. We were really looking around over the last, well, this weekend, Friday. I'm thinking, wow, these things are up here. I don't know how this can really be staying up here. And you can see the same situation right there on the IWM. You see the gap between price and the 8 EMA is too high. Or even here, you can see here that price was up into the 30 ATR on the hourly chart. And this is another thing that I was telling you guys last week. And I said, we don't know this yet, but I have a feeling this is what's going to happen. And that is inverse trampoline move on the hourly chart. We have price over the hourly 50, but notice how the Moxie indicator is staying below zero. Got close, but it did not actually cross over zero. So the fact that price was over the 50 and the Moxie indicator was below zero was a false long signal. Price shouldn't be up there. And the Moxie indicator was helping to tell you guys that and communicate that to you and say, be careful. This probably isn't a legitimate long side trade. In fact, it could be a short trade. And so, yeah, you just look at that and be prepared that this thing is probably going to come back down, and lo and behold, it did. Trader Doc. No, there isn't a particular formula. People ask me that all the time. A lot of times, this is just kind of a gut feel, and also it depends on the account. Like I'll tell you, on my other account, I'm down $4,000, and let's see, on another account, I am down, yeah, I'm down $30,000. So it all depends on either how much you size up and how much you cash you have in order to compensate. This is the difference between, say, one of my accounts where I'm trading a mixture of stock and options, and I did put on some hedges, and they're making me some money, but there's no way that these options are able to overcome or offset the just the account value going down. The one account where I was just telling you where I was able to neutralize it, I threw on $600,000 of leverage stock. And that is what it was able to help me offset anything else that I had. And so it really just kind of comes down to what trades you have, what kind of account you have, what abilities you have to work with that. And so that's, yeah. And Trader Doc, that's the other thing. You went heavily into cash. That helps. Yep, that's the other thing. So I was taking up off a lot of risk today. Well, this morning, yesterday, and maybe a little bit Friday. I'm not sure if I took much off Friday because, so for example, like RCAT, I had a really large position on RCAT, especially for that short dated one. That the call expired August or October 17th, so next Friday. And we got it. Where did we pick that thing up? I think we picked it up here. It jumped up like this, then it pulled back, and then it shot up again like that. So it was kind of all over the place. I told you guys that we were taking profits yesterday right here. And I think we cashed in those profits for 200%. And then it managed to go up, and I was like, okay, well, I could have done a little bit better about that. But you could see why I was doing it. I was getting a little bit nervous what was happening with the market, and you could see that our cat was starting to get very extended up here. And so what I did is we kept it, and today we sold the rest of it for plus 300%. And so those of you out in the, I'll show you guys this in the social media world, so you can actually see. Here are the alerts. This is what it looks like inside of the Boxy room. So we exit alert. It was 7:04 a.m. Pacific time on the West Coast. And yeah, we exited those short dated calls for 300%. Not too shabby. $3. And that was right there this morning. What, 35 minutes after the market opened, right there. And then you can see this thing came down. Now, as I said, keeping everything else that is long term, because I do think that this market we're in a long term market. This is a good market. Okay. I'm very happy about this. There is some short term weakness, some short term volatility. And you look at something like RCAT, we could also be saying it's right here at a double top. So, reasonable. We could also see it's pretty extended. It's starting to pull away from the moving averages and all that kind of stuff. But overall, this thing is definitely in an uptrend. And you go look around at some of the other drone stocks, what they're doing, and they are significantly higher. So you just kind of have to take it piece by piece and say, I think RCAT's going higher, but I think it's going to get under pressure because of what the market's doing. And then you like, if you have a short dated option, it's just not going to last. So you take your 300%, you see what happens, you keep the longer dated stuff, you expect them to come down a little bit, and then you see if you can buy the next dip that comes along from the market. And that's basically what we do through here. And yeah, that's how we've been managing it. Let's see what else we're kind of looking at that I wanted to at least warn you guys about. I think we're talking about Tesla. I'm sure Tesla is on everybody's mind out there. And Tesla, let's see, they sold off, well, was that Thursday? I think it was. So Thursday into Friday. And I almost had the idea of just buying it Friday, but I again was expecting the market to come down this week. And I didn't really want to just go buy a dip because, it could keep going lower. But Tesla did actually do a really good job of bouncing yesterday. But again, now you can see it's actually coming down. So this is why I haven't done anything on Tesla yet. We have a position. We still have plenty of time on it. We also have the leverage ETF of Tesla. And they were teasing something coming out today. I think the idea was that they have a lower price model. Was it Model Y that came out? So that was kind of the news today. Womp, womp. Okay. Market's coming down too. But their next big thing is going to be their Optimus 3 debut on November 6th. So I've got some ideas that I want to do, and I do want to accumulate more because I would imagine there's probably going to be a run up into that event. Also, because I think that this market is going to be done pulling back in short order, and I think we're going to be back to the long side. So yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on things, guys. All I had to do was just kind of hedge my account and take advantage of some down moves. So that's what we're looking for with Tesla. And then let's see, how's FNGU doing? This is the leverage ETF of the FANG stocks. And this morning I was like, huh, this morning it was actually up a little bit. I was like, yeah, this is looking pretty strong, but I'm not so sure about this. And as we can see, FANG stocks are even coming down too. So it is across the board. The market is pulling back. We've been cautious here, safe here, taking profits. Been telling you guys, if you've been in some really good moves, take some profits, okay? Because something's coming, and you just want to make sure that you have enough dry powder for when this market is done going down. Because I personally think that this pullback that we are experiencing right now should be the thing, the catalyst, call it, the opportunity that will then let us really run into the end of the year. Because I think the market was getting a little bit locked up and couldn't quite do anything. And now we have this, and then we have OPEX, and I think that's going to open the doors for November and December, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm very excited. Make sure you guys have some dry powder to work with, okay? But for the most part, as far as the Moxie indicator and all that, look here. You can see the hourly chart. Notice how the Moxie indicator has been below zero for 2 weeks, okay? There is, even if price started going up, there is no way that this was saying that it was a green light to go in on this position. Okay, so even though it was going sideways, looked like it was trying to be strong, looked like maybe it was bull flagging, even looked like it wanted to go higher. No, the Moxie indicator is telling you it's not ready. Okay, this is really where the Moxie indicator comes and helps you. And now you can see on the daily chart, looks like we're going to get a bar that closes below the daily 21, which means, confirmation to the downside, or at least definitely not to the upside. And so we need to just be prepared for that. And that's what's happened. This is also what I call an inverse trampoline move. Price was trying to get above a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. It's an inverse trampoline move. Yet another thing that was telling us, hey, be careful on the long side and through here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about what's happening here. Finally, I know a lot of us keep joking like, oh my gosh, when is this thing going to go? And I think it's finally going. VIX, been telling you guys this for a while too. I kind of feel like the boy who cried wolf. The last two videos, so the last 2 weeks of videos that I've been making, I have been pointing out the UVIX and the VIX and saying, careful, 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 careful. And it just hasn't happened. In fact, I had one of my bigger weeks while I was making these videos about caution, caution, caution. And maybe that is kind of interesting. You see the market just kind of throw itself higher while it sees this concern. And maybe there's I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of a blow off top for now, call it a pullback, but a blow off pullback that could be occurring. And yeah, this looks ready to go higher. And I think we need to be aware of that. In fact, now we're actually getting a Moxie price trigger on the daily chart. So again, guys, I love the Moxie indicator. I mean, look at that. Talk about timing. Great timing. And you look here on the hourly chart, look how long that Moxie indicator has been staying above zero, telling you that it seemed like something was going to be happening. So I just think we need to be very aware of this and see where it goes. I don't know where this goes. So just expect some downside. And we can also look at the UVIX. Looks like we're actually also getting a Moxie price trigger on that daily chart. And yeah, we're finally getting some traction, guys. Look at this. It was Emil. We were pulling our hair out this morning. Like, what is going on with this? How is the UVIX down here? I think that there was some manipulation here. Now, of course, manipulation just means, buyers and sellers kind of doing some things. I don't know how they do this, but somebody was able to kind of keep the UVIX down. I think that they were accumulating it while they knew the market was going to come down and probably throwing people off the trail. But now you can see it's starting to come up. So yeah. Sharib, well, I wish you were here earlier. Maybe you can rewatch this video when I'm done. But why is the SPX down? Mostly because the SPX was up too much. And things were just getting pushed too much. Underneath the surface, there were a lot of things that were running too far. I mean, you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they were straight up for almost 10 days. They're due for a pullback. You look at FNGU, which are the FANG stocks, they were not participating. You can see here for the last week or two, they were just sideways, and now they're going down. And so we kind of saw this rotation into some great names because, yeah, we had some good moves in the account. but we were not getting full broad participation. And now that we were seeing that the VIX and the UVIX were starting to build, yeah, we certainly need to be careful about. Okay, but yeah, we're starting to see some stuff. In fact, if we look at UVIX, there's some good volume today. Look at that right there. Yep. So very happy about this, guys. It took a little bit of a detour. Kind of had to, well, I don't know, trust in the positions yesterday, and I think it's starting to demonstrate that it's happening today. So I'm feeling really great about things, and I hope you guys are too. Okay, with that, I'm going to sign off from the social media session. So I see a bunch of eyeballs there. Hopefully, you guys had a good point. And Sharib, remember, guys, I'm going to be having a special come up this month. Start looking for the advertisements. If you haven't come into the Moxie Room yet, feel free to. This is a great time. I think that this pullback, this weakness that we were seeing in the market, will actually eventually provide a great buying opportunity for a run into the end of the year. That's my thought. We'll see if it actually happens. And then we have the Moxie indicator as the indicator of the month starting tomorrow. And then I do have a presentation webinar to show you guys how we've been doing, how we've been trading, all that kind of stuff. October 16th. So next Thursday. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later.